Princess Seraya thought hunting meant choosing what would die, until the human led her into the black reeds of Vorn and taught her the terror of being chosen. She came dressed for victory. Silver armor, ceremonial spear, 12 trackers, and a caged glasshorn stag. The court had arranged everything. The path, the applause, the portrait, the speech about destiny. That was how Imperial heirs learned power. Prey was released, driven, cornered. Then the heir smiled over the body and called it courage. Sergeant Tomas Reed watched from the landing field. A scarred Earth soldier who had survived wars Seraya only studied. Then he looked at the cage and asked, "Your Highness, have you ever hunted anything that had a chance?" The reeds went silent around him. Seraya hated how humans spoke. Too plainly, too calmly. As if rank was clothing and truth was bone. Tomas had saved her life during the siege of Talmin. So her father had ordered her to learn from him. She expected tactics, not insult. Yet when Tomas refused the staged hunt and walked toward the forbidden marsh with only a knife and water skin, Seraya followed, because pride can drag royalty farther than duty. The first lesson came before blood. Tomas stopped beside Prince pressed into mud. Seraya saw broken reeds and claw marks. "North," she said. The beast ran north. Tomas touched the mud, then shook his head. "It wants us to think that," she laughed once. "It is an animal, Sergeant. It does not want." Tomas looked at her with the patience of someone who had buried too many fools. "Everything afraid of dying wants something, Princess. Food, distance, silence. One more breath. Respect that, or you are not hunting. You are killing with better clothes." His words cut cleaner than the marsh wind. They tracked deeper, away from horns and nobles. Until the sun became a red coin behind toxic mist, the prey was a Vecra. A six-legged marsh predator, declared vermin by imperial law. Aggressive, territorial, authorized for extermination. But Tomas kept pointing out what the file had ignored. A dragged hind leg, milk scent on reeds, Prince circling back toward high ground. Seraya understood slowly, this is a mother. Tomas nodded. And she is not running from us. She is leading us away. That was when the princess first felt hunted by her own certainty. A tracker fired too early. The shot screamed through fog and hit nothing. But the marsh answered. The Vecra burst from the reeds behind them. Not attacking the strongest, but the loudest. It knocked the tracker into black water, seized his rifle, and vanished before anyone could aim. Tomas dragged the man out, pressed cloth over his shoulder, and whispered, "She counted our weapons." The princess stared. "Animals do not count. Humans used to say that about each other." He replied. Then the reeds began clicking. The sound moved around them in a broken circle. Stone on tooth, claw on bark, imitation gun bolts, imitation boots, imitation voices. The trackers panicked and fired at shadows. Tomas shoved their barrels down. "Stop teaching her where you are," he snapped. Seraya saw it then. Every shot, curse, and bright movement became information. The Vecra was not stronger than them, not faster than a bullet. But she knew the marsh. She knew fear, and used both like a blade. The monster was not coming at them. It was making them become stupid. Tomas ordered the guards back to the ridge. Seraya refused to leave. He handed her the water skin. "Then carry what keeps us alive, not what kills." They moved slower now, quiet enough to hear insects breathe. Tomas showed her how prey listens for rhythm, watches eyes, remembers pain. He made her crawl through cold water instead of breaking dry branches. Taste the wind before open ground. And wait while mosquitoes fed from her neck. "Patience," he whispered, "is what the weak invented to defeat the strong." At dusk they found the nest, 3 Vecra kits under root bones. Blind, trembling, alive, Seraya lifted her spear because the law said vermin reproduced faster than mercy. Tomas lowered it with 2 fingers. "Look at them, not at the file." The mother emerged across the clearing, wounded, starving, but still between them and the young. Seraya expected a charge. Instead, the creature lowered her head. Showing teeth but not moving closer, she was bargaining with the only thing she had left. Her body, For the first time, Seraya understood prey was not weakness. Prey was love under pressure. Then the real hunters arrived. Ducardon and his private party. Drunk on sport and armed with sonic lances, he had followed her trail. And when he saw the nest, he laughed. Excellent. Royal trophies for everyone. Tomas stepped in front of the kits. Ardon aimed at him. Move, human. Seraya felt every lesson return. The false trail, the circle, the fear, the mother leading danger away. She looked at Ardon's soldiers and saw not warriors, but noisy animals certain the world existed for their hunger. Now she knew how prey thinks, and that made her dangerous. Seraya dropped her spear, raised empty hands, and cried that the Vecra had circled behind them. Ardon's men spun toward the reeds, exactly as frightened creatures do. Tomas moved in the opening, silent and fast. Fiber line around one lance, knife through another. Seraya kicked mud into a visor, dragged Ardon by his collar, and held him between the mother and the guns. Do not fire, she ordered, not because you respect me, but because I finally understand what you fear. The mother Vecra did not flee. She watched, learning them. When the soldiers lowered their weapons, Seraya made them carry the wounded tracker, the broken lances, and the Duke's shame back to the ridge. She declared the marsh protected until study, the Vecra relocated instead of erased, and all royal hunts suspended until every hunter could survive one night as prey. The nobles called it disgrace. Tomas called it a beginning years later. Empress Seraya won wars without burning cities, because she could ask what an enemy feared losing. She could read retreats as traps, cruelty as panic, silence as grief. She had learned from a human that prey thinks about children, exits, wounds, weather, and tomorrow, and that is why the galaxy feared human teachers most. They did not merely show princesses how to kill, they showed them how the hunted survive, and once Seraya learned that lesson, no predator in the stars could ever make her simple again.